Chapter 1. The Frozen Discovery. The biting wind howled across the barren expanse, tearing at Jonas's insulated jacket and cutting through the layers of advanced thermal gear that had become his shield against the relentless cold. Every breath he drew crystallized instantly in the frigid air, forming ephemeral clouds that vanished into the bleak sky like whispers lost in the void. The landscape was a frozen wasteland, a planet on the very edge of explored space, a desolate frontier marked by endless fields of snow and ice, jagged crystalline spires rising from the frozen ground like the remnants of a shattered dream. Jonas had been dispatched here on a routine exploratory mission: survey the planet for potential resource deposits, map the terrain, and assess any signs of life. But as the hours dragged on beneath the harsh, unyielding sun, he began to suspect that this mission would become anything but routine. The silence was profound, broken only by the crunch of his boots in the snow and the distant groan of shifting ice. Technology had equipped him well: thermal sensors that painted the landscape in heat signatures, a hover drone that scanned the horizon, and a communication link that connected him to the orbiting command vessel. Yet none of these tools could have prepared him for what he found nestled in the lee of a rocky outcrop, half buried beneath drifts of snow and a shattered canopy of what appeared to be alien synthetic material. As he approached cautiously, a faint tremor in the snow caught his eye, and there, curled together in a desperate embrace, were two figures, slender, fragile, and unmistakably alive despite the merciless cold. They were the most astonishing beings Jonas had ever encountered. Their skin shimmered with a pearlescent sheen, faintly luminescent even beneath the dull light of the icy sun, casting subtle rainbows on the snow around them. Their eyes, large and expressive, glowed with an inner light emerald and sapphire hues swirling like distant galaxies trapped in liquid crystal. Despite their ethereal beauty, they were clearly suffering, shivering uncontrollably as the frost clung to their long, flowing hair, tendrils of silvery blue that seemed to ripple like liquid metal in the wind. The sisters, he was sure they were siblings from the way they clung to one another, exuded a fragile elegance. But they were undeniably vulnerable, their breathing shallow and labored. Jonas's instincts took over. He dropped to his knees, pulling his thermal blanket from his pack and carefully wrapping it around their trembling forms. As warmth began to seep into their frozen limbs, the sisters stirred, their luminous eyes flickering open to meet his gaze. A wave of relief mingled with fear washed over their delicate features, and Jonas felt the weight of their silent plea for help. Words were unnecessary in that moment. The universal language of compassion transcended their alien origins. He adjusted his comms to emergency frequency, calling for immediate evacuation support, while gently coaxing them to drink the nutrient gel he carried for emergencies. The sisters accepted it with tentative gratitude, their voices soft and melodic, yet laced with accents unknown to any language databases Jonas had ever encountered. Through a combination of hand gestures, shared images, and painstaking patience, they revealed fragments of their story: an escape from a catastrophic conflict that had decimated their homeworld, a desperate flight that ended with their ship crashing on this icy planet, and a struggle for survival that had brought them to the brink of death. As he listened, Jonas felt a swell of protective determination. Here were two beings, stranded and broken on the edge of the universe, clinging to life against impossible odds. The mission had transformed in an instant, no longer about surveys or resources, but about salvation and hope. Back aboard the command vessel, as medics prepared for their arrival, Jonas pondered the profound implications. These sisters were not only survivors, but carriers of cultures and histories that could rewrite the understanding of the cosmos. Their presence here was a beacon of resilience, of new beginnings, and of the unexpected ways fate intertwined lives across the stars. And yet, beneath the surface of gratitude and fragile recovery, Jonas sensed the stirrings of a more complex journey ahead, one that would challenge everything he thought he knew about loyalty, love, and the ties that bind beings from vastly different worlds. Chapter 2. The Thawing Bonds. The hum of the starship's med bay was a faint and constant background to Jonas's thoughts as he paced slowly along the sterile corridor, the weight of the two sisters' survival pressing heavily on his conscience. Though the artificial environment was warm and stable, it was nothing compared to the harsh wilderness from which he had plucked them. Their fragile bodies, now swaddled in thermal recovery suits, rested quietly in adjacent medical pods, the steady beep of the monitors marking the slow but certain return of life to limbs once numbed by the unforgiving snow. Jonas's mind spun as he tried to piece together what lay ahead, not just in terms of logistics or survival, but the tangled web of emotions and relationships that had already begun to weave itself between him and these extraordinary alien sisters. The gravity of the moment was not lost on him. What started as a desperate rescue was evolving into something deeper, complex, and entirely unforeseen. The sisters, whose names he had learned were Lyra and Myra, were as enigmatic as they were beautiful, their culture and biology steeped in nuances that Jonas was only beginning to understand. They hailed from a remote star system, a place where family bonds were sacred and intertwined with rites of passage that extended beyond the physical into spiritual unity. Their twinship was not merely biological but metaphysical, a connection that granted them abilities and empathy rare even among their own species. As Jonas spent hours in their presence, aided by translation algorithms and the sisters' own painstaking efforts at communication, he found himself drawn into their world, a realm where loyalty was absolute, where relationships were complex dances of honor, and where the concept of marriage bore meanings far richer and more profound than his earthly experiences had ever taught him. The sisters spoke of traditions that intertwined lives in ways that challenged his assumptions about love, partnership, and destiny. Yet, despite the growing understanding and mutual respect, Jonas was acutely aware of the delicate balance that hovered over their evolving relationship. In their world, the idea that both sisters might wish to bind their fates to a single partner was not merely accepted but revered in ancient custom that celebrated unity and shared strength. But for Jonas, a man grounded in a more individualistic culture, the reality of suddenly being desired by not one but two alien women was bewildering, thrilling, and terrifying all at once. The quiet moments he shared with Lyra were suffused with her gentle curiosity and an unspoken promise of steadfast companionship, while Myra's vibrant energy and fierce protectiveness offered a counterpoint that stirred feelings he struggled to name. In their presence, the cold isolation of the frozen wasteland faded into memory, replaced by a burgeoning warmth that threatened to engulf them all. Outside the medbay's walls, the world awaited their return, a galaxy filled with opportunities and dangers, where alliances could be forged or broken with a single gesture, and where the sisters' survival carried implications far beyond the personal. News of their rescue had already sparked interest across multiple factions, some eager to offer sanctuary and others watching with wary eyes, calculating the value of the sisters' knowledge and heritage. Jonas found himself navigating this political minefield with growing skill, leveraging his own contacts and the sisters' growing trust in him to secure safe passage and vital resources. But the challenges were as much internal as external. Each night, he wrestled with his feelings and fears, caught between the practical realities of their situation and the profound emotional shifts taking root. The sisters, too, grappled with their own doubts about their place in this alien world, the sincerity of Jonas's intentions, and the uncertain path ahead. As days melted into weeks, the bonds between Jonas, Lyra, and Myra deepened in a tapestry woven from shared experiences, laughter, and the quiet courage that comes from facing the unknown together. They explored the starship's halls and decks, each encounter peeling back layers of misunderstanding and forging new connections. Lyra's serene wisdom and Myra's passionate vitality balanced one another, creating a dynamic that fascinated and humbled Jonas. Together, they delved into the sisters' culture, their stories illuminating histories of cosmic exploration, resilience in the face of cataclysm, and philosophies that stretched the mind's grasp. Jonas, in turn, shared tales of Earth's struggles and triumphs, of humanity's own complex relationships and dreams. In these exchanges, love and partnership took shape not as simple declarations, but as evolving, living things shaped by trust, respect, and the willingness to embrace difference. Yet, beneath the surface of harmony, challenges loomed. The shadows of their pasts whispered warnings, and the political currents surrounding them surged unpredictably. The sisters' bond, while a source of strength, was also a point of vulnerability, and Jonas's role as protector and partner demanded a resilience he was still discovering. Together, they faced trials that tested their resolve, from hostile factions seeking to exploit the sisters' heritage to the unpredictable effects of the planet's harsh environment on their delicate physiology. Each obstacle overcame only solidified their commitment, weaving their fates tighter into a shared destiny. The journey that began with a chance encounter in the snow had blossomed into a profound saga of love, loyalty, and transformation, one that challenged the boundaries of culture and species and offered a glimpse of unity in a fragmented universe. Chapter 3: The Complex Dance of Hearts and Loyalties. As the days stretched into weeks aboard the starship that had become their sanctuary, the tenuous equilibrium Jonas had hoped to maintain among himself, Lyra, and Myra began to transform into something far more intricate, profound, and fraught with emotional complexity. The alien sisters, once simply survivors in need of warmth and protection, blossomed into vibrant presences that illuminated every corner of his life with their unique personalities and cultural depths. Lyra, with her serene wisdom and quiet strength, exuded a calming aura that made the chaotic environs of space feel almost peaceful. She was the anchor to the tempest, the patient heart who understood the gravity of their situation without ever succumbing to despair. Myra, in stark contrast, was a force of nature, fiery, passionate, and fiercely protective of those she loved. Her laughter was a spark that cut through the coldness of their past traumas, her every gesture infused with an energy that challenged Jonas to match her vitality. Together, the sisters formed a balance of light and shadow, calm and storm, weaving their lives around Jonas in ways that both exhilarated and overwhelmed him. Jonas found himself caught in a swirling dance of emotions and responsibilities, one that demanded a level of empathy and openness he had never anticipated. The alien culture from which Lyra and Myra hailed embraced a form of partnership that defied Earth's more conventional notions of love and marriage. Their society revered the bonds of sisterhood and viewed shared union not as a challenge, but as a source of unparalleled strength and harmony. The sisters' desire to include Jonas not as a singular partner, but as a unifying figure in their lives was deeply rooted in traditions that celebrated interconnectedness and collective resilience. For Jonas, this was both a revelation and a trial, an invitation to expand his understanding of love beyond possessiveness or exclusivity and into the realm of shared trust, mutual respect, and boundless commitment. Nights spent in candid conversation with the sisters opened his mind to philosophies that transcended his own experience, challenging him to embrace vulnerability and the unknown. Yet, the path to this unconventional union was riddled with challenges that tested the limits of their bonds. The physical closeness that had sparked their initial awakening was but the surface of a deeper intimacy that required negotiation, patience, and unwavering honesty. Jealousies, insecurities, and cultural misunderstandings occasionally surfaced like turbulent waves, threatening to disrupt the fragile harmony they had nurtured. Jonas, unaccustomed to the nuances of such a triadic relationship, often found himself navigating emotional landscapes as alien as the worlds the sisters came from. He learned to listen with his heart as much as his mind, to read the subtle signals in a glance or a touch, and to communicate with clarity that bridged the gulf of differing customs. Lyra's quiet wisdom guided many of these moments, her soothing presence a balm to tensions, while Myra's fiery passion reminded them all of the beauty and power inherent in honest emotion. Beyond the personal complexities, external threats loomed with increasing urgency. The galaxy, vast and full of unknown dangers, had not forgotten the sisters or their heritage. Political factions, starship captains, and corporate interests all recognized the significance of Lyra and Myra's lineage, a lineage tied to ancient technologies and knowledge coveted by many. Jonas found himself thrust into the role of protector and negotiator, balancing delicate alliances with the fierce determination of a man who understood that the stakes were far higher than his own heart. His reputation as a pragmatic yet compassionate leader grew, and the trio became a symbol of unity and hope in a fractured universe. Their story spread across starports and settlements, inspiring those who yearned for connection beyond borders of species and culture. But with every new ally came new enemies, and the ever-present shadow of danger reminded them that peace was fragile and victory hard-won. Amidst these trials, moments of profound joy and tenderness blossomed. The sisters shared stories of their homeworld, rich with shimmering bioluminescent forests and crystal cities floating in azure skies, painting vivid pictures that stirred Jonas's imagination and deepened his affection. Together, they celebrated rituals that intertwined their live ceremonies of light and sound that honored their commitment and the merging of their paths. Each day brought new discoveries, new challenges, and new affirmations of their unique bond. Jonas, once a solitary explorer, now found his identity reshaped by the love and loyalty of two remarkable beings who had become his family. The frozen wasteland where they had first met was a distant memory, replaced by the warmth of shared dreams and the promise of futures intertwined. Yet, as they stood on the threshold of this new chapter, Jonas understood that their journey was far from over. The universe was vast and unpredictable, and the dance of hearts and loyalties was an ongoing symphony requiring courage, compassion, and resilience. But with Lyra and Myra beside him, he felt ready to face whatever storms awaited, confident that together they could weather the darkness and shine brighter than the distant stars. Chapter 4: The Convergence of Fate and Future. The final chapter of Jonas's unexpected odyssey began not with the quiet tranquility of a peaceful dawn, but amid the tumultuous roar of engines, the sharp bark of commands, and the unyielding weight of choices that could unravel or redefine the very fabric of their lives and the galaxy they inhabited. The starship that had been their refuge and crucible now surged forward with purpose, carrying Jonas, Lyra, and Myra toward a convergence point where destiny itself seemed to fold upon their intertwined fates. The Nexus, a swirling eddy of cosmic energy, ancient technology, and political intrigue, beckoned like a siren's call, promising power, revelation, and danger in equal measure. As they approached, the sisters' delicate hands entwined with Jonas's, a silent vow of unity and shared courage that transcended words and species alike. Their journey had been one of survival, discovery, and love, but the true test lay ahead in the heart of the storm that awaited. The Nexus itself was a spectacle beyond imagination, a colossal structure suspended in the void, its spires of crystalline light twisting like living veins, pulsing with energy that hummed in harmony with the sisters' own bioluminescence. Ancient glyphs, etched into surfaces older than recorded history, glowed softly, as if awakening from a long slumber, their meanings a riddle only partially understood. Jonas stood at the forefront, feeling the palpable charge of power that radiated from the Nexus, a force capable of rewriting reality's rules, bridging dimensions, and reshaping the essence of life itself. The political players who had tracked the sisters now converged here: fleet commanders, shadowy operatives, and emissaries of distant worlds, each with their own designs and agendas. The atmosphere was taut with suspicion, hope, and the electric promise of change. Jonas realized that the fate of his companions and the galaxy's fragile balance depended not only on strength and strategy, but on the capacity to inspire trust and forge unity where division threatened to reign. Negotiations unfolded with a blend of tension and tentative respect, the sisters' voices weaving ancient wisdom into the discourse, reminding all present of the sacred responsibilities tied to the Nexus's power. Lyra's serene eloquence calmed volatile tempers, while Myra's passionate appeals ignited the hearts of those weary of endless conflict. Jonas, drawing upon his unique position as both protector and partner, bridged the gulf between species and factions, advocating for cooperation over conquest, understanding over dominance. The council chambers echoed with debates, promises, and veiled threats, but beneath the political theater lay a shared recognition that the Nexus could not be controlled by any one power without risking catastrophe. It was a living entity, a guardian of cosmic balance, and its stewardship demanded humility, courage, and a bond unbreakable even by the vastest divides. As discussions reached a crescendo, a sudden breach in security shattered the fragile peace. A faction loyal to the old regimes launched a daring assault, intent on seizing the Nexus by force. Chaos erupted as blaster fire and energy pulses lit the void, and the starship's defenses roared to life. Jonas and the sisters found themselves thrust into the heart of battle once more, their unity and resolve tested by the twin fires of conflict and uncertainty. The sisters moved with fluid grace, their alien abilities amplifying their strength and speed, while Jonas's quick thinking and human ingenuity turned the tide, deploying tactics honed through trials both earthly and cosmic. Together, they embodied the symphony of worlds united, the living testament to the power of connection amidst chaos. In the aftermath, as the smoke cleared and the echoes of conflict faded into the stars, the Council reached a historic accord. The Nexus would be governed by a triad of custodians, Lyra and Myra, whose bond with the cosmic energies was unmatched, and Jonas, whose human perspective grounded their stewardship in compassion and pragmatism. Their union, once born of chance and survival, had evolved into a sacred covenant, one that would guide the galaxy toward an era of balance, understanding, and hope. The sisters, radiant and serene, stood beside Jonas as the Nexus's light enveloped them in a gentle embrace, symbolizing not only the merging of powers but the triumph of love transcending worlds. As they looked out across the vastness of space, Jonas felt the profound truth that had carried him from the frozen wasteland to this moment of cosmic significance. That destiny was not a path walked alone, but a journey shared, forged in trust, sacrifice, and the courage to embrace the unknown. The sisters smiled, their eyes reflecting the stars and the infinite possibilities ahead, and Jonas knew that whatever challenges awaited, they would face them together as partners, as family, and as beacons of a new dawn. Their story, born of cold snow and desperate hope, had become a legend whispered across galaxies, a testament to the unbreakable bonds that arise when hearts dare to unite beyond the stars. The air inside the command deck was thick with tension, yet beneath it lay a current of anticipation, a quiet storm waiting to break open the horizon of their shared future. Jonas stood at the center, flanked by Lyra and Myra, the two sisters whose lives had become irrevocably intertwined with his own since that fateful day in the snow. Their journey had been as harrowing as it had been transformative, a tapestry woven from threads of desperation, resilience, and profound connection. Now, as the starship sailed toward a new frontier, both literal and metaphorical, Jonas could feel the weight of their combined destinies pressing not as a burden, but as a solemn honor. The sisters, radiant in their otherworldly grace, embodied the hopes and histories of their people, while Jonas represented the courage and adaptability of humanity. Together, they were more than survivors. They were the architects of a future born from unity amid diversity. The galaxy around them had shifted since their arrival. The once indifferent stars now seemed to pulse with the recognition of their presence, the sprawling network of civilizations sensing that something extraordinary was unfolding. Their survival had sparked ripples of change, alliances forged in the fires of shared struggle, prejudices softened by the undeniable proof that love and loyalty transcended species. Yet the challenges that awaited were as immense as the stars themselves. Political factions coveted the sisters' unique heritage and the ancient knowledge they carried, while hidden enemies lurked in the shadows, seeking to exploit fractures and ignite old conflicts. Jonas knew that safeguarding their bond required more than courage. It demanded wisdom, patience, and an unwavering commitment to trust. In the quiet moments shared with Lyra and Myra, he found solace and strength, their presence a constant reminder of the light that could emerge from even the coldest of nights. Their days became a delicate balance of diplomacy, exploration, and the deepening of their extraordinary relationship. Rituals from the sisters' culture intermingled with human traditions, creating ceremonies that celebrated not only their union but the melding of worlds. They studied together beneath the glow of distant suns, sharing stories that spanned millennia and continents, their laughter a melody that echoed through the corridors of the ship and into the vastness beyond. The sisters' ancient wisdom guided them through the complexities of cosmic politics, while Jonas's grounded pragmatism navigated the practicalities of survival and alliance building. Each challenge faced only wove their lives closer, their love a tapestry rich with texture and depth, defying simple definitions or expectations. Yet, amidst the harmony, moments of quiet introspection emerged. Jonas often wandered the observation deck alone, gazing at the swirling galaxies and nebulae, pondering the extraordinary path that had brought him from a solitary explorer in a frozen wasteland to the center of a cosmic family. He thought of the fragile forms he had found shivering beneath the snow, now radiant with life and hope, and the incredible journey they had embarked upon together. The future was unknown, a vast expanse of possibilities and perils, but Jonas felt ready to face it not as an individual adrift among the stars, but as part of something greater, bound by love and shared purpose. Lyra and Myra joined him on the deck, their luminous eyes reflecting the starlight as they spoke softly of dreams and promises, their voices weaving a song of unity that transcended language and species. As they stood together, hand in hand, the starship's engines thrummed with the promise of new beginnings. The universe stretched before them, a canvas of infinite potential waiting to be painted with the colors of their story. Their bond, forged in adversity and nurtured with tenderness, was a beacon in the darkness, a testament to the power of connection in a cosmos vast and often indifferent. Jonas, Lyra, and Myra faced the future with hearts intertwined, ready to write the next chapters of their lives together, proving that sometimes the most unexpected encounters beneath the coldest skies can ignite the brightest flames. Their legend would be whispered across stars and sung by generations, a timeless saga of love, resilience, and the unbreakable ties that bind us all no matter the worlds we come from.